Hi everybody, welcome back. Sorry about that. Um, we're at the edge of the Wi-Fi limit, and every so often the Wi-Fi drops, and we have to go offline. So anyway, in the meantime, all the balls approach Hoop 2, and James has just got good clearance. So let me restart this. So I know now Blue's shooting and clearing red, and that's another unfortunate double clearance. So he clears red really solidly, but instead red just collides with black instantly, and for all intents and purposes it's as though he's cleared his own ball. I suppose the silver lining is that at least red is not in hoop running position, but what's really unfortunate is that I think black has strayed into a wide position and now can't clear yellow, so it's just an insult to injury sort of thing. Um, so we do have a couple of internet connectivity worries, but I think it's stable for the moment. So it seemed like it wasn't 100% wide, and red bumbles into yellow, presumably to try to finish off that wire. But James is nevertheless shooting at something, and I think he may have meant that actually. I suspect what had happened there was that he couldn't see much of yellow, but red and yellow were very close together, and he kind of worked out that if he catches the left-hand side of red, that there was a good chance that black would then collide into yellow. To be honest, given this situation, there wasn't much else on if he was wide, and so that's a really good choice of shot, and it's really well executed. Um, so blue blocking yellow's hoop shot. I wonder whether yellow will actually be there next turn, because I kind of expect black to clear yellow, even though I don't know how much it will really achieve. I think black on balance, if yellow's hoop shot is blocked already, I think black on balance is probably better off leaving black there and maybe trying to put another block in. I'm not that keen on the idea of yellow clearing blue a long distance. But having said that, red's position shot again is short. Had red been a couple of yards in front here, like you really don't want to give yellow the option to clear blue 20 odd yards. As it turns out, even if yellow does clear blue a long distance, what's red going to do afterwards? He's going to have a 4 yard clear, 4 yard hoop shot. It's probably a risk James is willing to take. Um, anyway, now Yasser's lining up this clearance. And it'll be interesting actually after this clearance. Well, I was going to say it'll be interesting to see whether blue just plays back into position or clears. I think here it's got to be position. The line here is so easy, it makes the block on the hoop, it makes it so much easier to get the block on the hoop because of the line that blue's approaching. And if he gets that block, it just gives him such a command of the hoop. And even if he doesn't get the block, blue's almost guaranteed to get good hoop position. And then he's just banking on red not getting the hoop. Red's kind of forced here to take this hoop on. And this is kind of what I was saying last game as well, was that Yasser was sort of he was just not quite getting great hoop positions. And then as a result, he's having to do difficult hoop shots like this. And the result of a difficult hoop shot is a rejection. If red had just been a couple of yards in front there, this hoop would have been quite different, I feel. And now we see that James has got two balls in front. Yasser's got one ball 30 yards away, another ball 7 yards away, neither of them in front. Yasser's got to start clearing and keep clearing now for some time before he gets another hoop shot. I suppose there is a chance of a double clearance here, which Ooh, no. I I think blue's I think blue's good. I think blue runs. Yeah. So I think Yasser was almost certainly going for blue there. And yeah, so James now shooting for a 2-0 lead in his second game. And that might just about be good enough. Yellow's in corner, so can't do too much about blue. Red's got a tricky clearance. I think red can dig blue out. Red can probably dig blue out, but it's really not a nice shot. It's certainly not a shot you would want to have to take to rescue a hoop situation. Um, I think if it was a little bit further at the boundary towards us, then you'd have a lot more blue to hit. But as it turns out, I think that white is pretty huge. So yeah, good effort. Digs blew out the hoop a little bit. I can't quite tell now whether blue is running still, but red's disappeared off towards a peg. Um, Confusingly, there's now another black ball on the lawn. That's from the neighbouring lawn. Yeah, but James's black is in front of the hoop rather than he didn't just play at the boundary. And now Yasser's shooting. And yeah, so blue was presumably runnable. And that's a nice shot, actually. All he had to do there was stop James having a straightforward hoop shot, and he's done that. And then the second priority is to keep yellow around so that he's not got a 20-yard shot next turn. But the problem is that James is just in full control here. All he needs to do is keep sticking balls in front, and that's not in front. That's not in front. And yeah, that's a bit of a let off. Normally these normally these exchanges where one person's stuck clearing and the other person's stuck positioning, it normally goes the way of the positioner. Um, but having said that, Red's still got a long shot to get back into this loop, and he's not got it. And so James has got another opportunity to go 2-0 up. Blue's approach to hoop 3 could be a bit awkward with being stuck behind the wire, but for a 2-0 lead, I think you just take it and worry about blue afterwards. Yeah, good hoop, well done. Straight through to the boundary, nice and clean. So yeah, 2-0 in the second. He's doing very well. Um, so yellow just needs a couple of yards in front here. That's all he needs, and that's what he's got. Nice shot. Yasser needs to just like Yasser's playing very well. The one aspect of this game that I think is letting him down right now is just putting balls in front of hoops. Um, so as long as he keeps doing that, he'll be fine. And Blues had to go quite deep there. I don't know whether that was because of the hoop situation at hoop 2 or whether he's just gone deep to prevent himself being cleared afterwards. What's interesting is Red's gone pretty deep too. I'm not sure I like Red there, to be honest. He's given Blue a shorter stop shot, so in the event that Black clears Yellow and this hoop goes on a bit longer, Blue's got the option of quite a short stop shot now. And also Blue, if he goes for the hoop shot, there's no and misses it, there's no guarantee that Red actually runs. Having said that, all of that hinges around Black's clearance, and Black doesn't quite hit that clearance, and so Yellow could end this hoop here and then, here and now. So yeah, so Yellow's shooting here to um, reduce the deficit to just one hoop. Because he's down, running the hoop by a foot or two is not enough. He wants to run all the way down to hoop 4 if possible. Um, Like he'll settle for a couple of yards through, and that's really good. That's really good. That's got a really nice pace on it. So um, it doesn't look as spectacular as pinging through to the boundary, but yellow's far more useful there than it is off the boundary. There is nowhere in front of that hoop that James can get wide from yellow and still be able to run the hoop. And now, if Yasser puts red slap bang in front, next shot yellow clears blue to corner two, and this could be a pretty quick 2-all. There is a hill here though, and he's found it. That's yeah, his face says it all. That I mean, there's a big hill there. There's no hiding it. Um, if you've not played on this lawn too much before, you won't know about it. I mean, how can you? And yeah, so red's. I don't think red's runnable, and that's it's unfortunate. It's not really a let off because yeah, that hill adds about a yard or so to left right. So and that actually changes his tactics now because had red been in front, yellow would have almost certainly been clearing blue there without a shadow of a doubt. But that's not really good enough. I think yellow does need to go in front of the hoop there, and he's played that well. He's gambling that blue just doesn't run the hoop here and now. Um, but if blue does go for the hoop and doesn't get it, then he's sort of back onto plan A just one shot later. Red then does the clearance on black, and then yellow runs. Um, James is a little bit hampered again. It's a little bit tricky, but he should be okay, I think. So instead, James opting to do the clearance, and I think that's fair enough. Um, Red's got a bit of a tough task ahead of him because if he wants to clear black, he really has to hold position. And I think James has found a good distance there. I think he's right on the edge of a typical stop shot distance. And because of that, red may go up the lawn quite a long distance after this clearance. As in red, you'd bank to hit. But yeah, you see. So that was mostly centre ball, but nevertheless, red carried on about 3 or 4 yards, and that's just opened up the area close to the hoop for black to come back into. And then yellow has to clear straight away. It'll be interesting to see whether black can get a wire on yellow. If black can get this wide from yellow, then he's in a very strong position indeed. But there is that hill that he has to worry about. And now yellow's a bit stuck because blue's in a strong position. And this is awkward now. This is very awkward. Blue can either just clear yellow here and now, or can sneak in front and leave that clearance to black. Either works. So he's gone. He's gone for the sneak in front of the hoop. Red potentially could clear black, but it has to clear black to corner four, really. Um, and that's quite a shot. Um, oh, great shot, well done. Great shot, well done. So he's maximised distance there. I don't think he's quite got the wire. I think getting the wire at that distance would have been exceptional. And yeah, James now clearing yellow. I don't know. I don't know whether yellow, if it's still their next shot, will actually run the hoop. I don't think so. But if James hits this, then he's all but wrapped up this hoop. So yellow certainly can't run the hoop directly anymore. Still within clearing distance for blue. There is the possibility of in and off, but at 7 or 8 yards, it's quite difficult to find that spot on the ball which will carry yellow into the hoop. Um, Having said that, um, if he clears blue, I think Yasser's in actually pretty strong position. That's really unfortunate. That's That's really unfortunate. Yeah, I mean, that's a bit of in a way, that's a bit of a shame because I thought Yasser played that hoop pretty well, and he just had a couple of succession of bad luck. So it held an awful lot on his first approach, which would have basically given Yasser an easy, straightforward hoop, and um, and his clearance just banged into the hoop. And to be honest, it would have been fine if it would have been fine if blue was anywhere but hoop running position, because Yasser had two balls there to deal with blue if it took tight position. So one ball goes in front and the other one clears. So he was super lucky to do the clearance and nevertheless have blue run instantly. But James probably doesn't mind because he's 3-1 up now. Um, and actually, Yasser's misapproached hoop 5. So despite black being quite a long way away and second to approach, it's probably going to be the first ball in front of the hoop anyway. Doing it in style, going through the back of the hoop. Well, I'll have to ask him later if he meant that or whether that was a bit of luck. But sorry, laughing at my own jokes. I'm that cool. But I think one other person laughed. So and yeah, yellow coming into position, and I think that's also a bit short actually. So now, so now James is clearing red, and he's not clearing to stay in this hoop. He's clearing to basically go off and win it. If he centers red here, not only will he add quite a lot of distance to red's clearance on black, there's a good chance he'll put a hoop in the way as well, and that's brilliant. But that's a good shot. So he's almost certainly not got the wire, um, but this is a 20-yard shot, and I'm not sure whether yellow can run this hoop either. So even if Yasser does get this clearance, black just comes back in. So James is in a very strong situation at the moment. And yeah, not quite hitting. And now James has got a 1-yard roquet, sorry, a 1-yard hoop run. And I tell you what, if he gets this through cleanly, this could very quickly turn into 5-1. Blue's already halfway. Red's on the south boundary, and if black ends up anywhere near hoop 6, what's yellow going to do? Having said that, 1 foot through for one's fine, you know. He's re so he's rejected his shot and he's lining up again. It's a bit tricky. Maybe something's not quite right, but no, that's good. That's good. That's what he needed. So you have to have quite a lot of luck to get black in front of the hoop there. If you run it at that pace, that's a good pace to run it at. But what does yellow do now? Yellow, in a way, has to go sort of peg high. It's going to get crunched up by blue, but it stops blue going tight to the hoop. If yellow goes really close to the hoop here, all that happens is blue goes in front, black clears yellow. Alright, so the players now are just stopping to go to the gents and have a drink of water. Um, let's see. Yeah, 4-1 to James. He'll be pretty pleased with that. Just straight onto camera now. Wonderful. Uh, Brian Howell behind me. Ewan, there he is. Chris. And that's Santiago as well. So let's pan out the other way. So yeah, I think Yasser's just gone to the gents, and yeah, 4-1 up. In the second, James is sitting pretty well, I think. He had a bit of luck around hoop 4, I think, but played really well at hoop 5, and I don't know. Yasser's going to have to play very well to get back into this game now. 5-1 down seems a little bit unmanageable, if I'm honest.
Am I on? Yeah, I think I'm on. Hi everyone. I thought I'd take a little break to come off the camera.
Let me unmute you first.
No, that's not my mic. It's alright, just turn
Which
that one
mic?
off. Yeah, no, this is the other one. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
All right.
Come on,
Cool.
Will. It's been 5 days. Yeah, I thought we'd just come off just to have a little bit of a chat and say hello to all the viewers out there. Have you been following anything else so far this week? What was your sort of general thoughts of what else has been going on besides this?
Besides this tournament?
Yeah, besides like other kind of other games. Who's impressed you so far?
So I caught a little bit of Mohamed Rashad, and I thought he was an excellent player. I thought so. You and Deacon in the first round. And I heard that Mohamed was a little bit off in his game, but I thought one or two of his games I thought he was stepping well. Even Sharp and Al Sharp he played really well as well in the games that I caught. But I mean, it's a really strong field. He's terrific. But anyway, players have you didn't see this. Let's get back. So Yasser now is just Yasser's kind of had that compromise between going Sorry, chaps. I'll unmute my mic next time before carrying on with the commentary. That is a classy shot. It didn't quite work, but that is really nice. So I was saying that yellow sort of found a compromise. So yellow found a compromise between going tight and deep to the hoop, and gave blue a bit of an awkward clearance. And James went for a pretty classy clearance, holding position, getting nicer to the hoop. And actually, even though blue's not got a hoop running position, it still worked out really nicely. Yellow doesn't have much say over this hoop at the moment, and blue can clear red to the south boundary. That's a little careless. I think if black has a hoop shot, it's certainly going to be much more angled than it had to be. And yeah, he's obviously disappointed with that. I think Yasser might actually be clearing blue here now, and if he clears blue, then there's a good chance red will run. And depending on just how angled black is, there's a round of applause. I'd be surprised if that's what the aim was. I think clearing blue there was a much better choice of shot. And that's a really good shot. That's cracking. So blue dispatching red, that's helpful, but it's no use if blue also disappears because red just comes back and Yasser's in a very strong position. But instead, James holds position very strongly, and red's now got to walk a very fine line. Red can't go deep because blue will just clear it straight away. So instead, red has to get as close to the hoop as possible here without going past. So he has to be in front in order to put pressure on blue to do something. Look. Yeah, let's set up Ethernet on. Sorry, guys, there was another dropout on the Wi-Fi, but never mind. We should hopefully have Wi-Fi next round for the final. I don't have enough data to tether. We're offline. YouTube says we're offline. Are you sure? Still offline. Are we on? That's live, is it? Okay, sorry guys, Wi-Fi's conking out again and again. We're hopefully back on. Anyway, what did we miss? We missed a succession of clearances where so James was going for lots of control clearances, but he was never quite holding position in front of the hoop. So there were good shots, but it just wasn't ever quite getting that hoop shot he needed. And because of that, Yasser was able to just feed hoop shots in the entire time. Um, but but now, are we definitely live? As in, because the stream here is not. Yeah. Okay. And yeah, now yellow's been fed back in, and black strayed a little bit far away. Now yellow's been fed back in, and blue's got to do a stop shot in order to retain control of this hoop. It's not really a comfortable distance, and it'll be a very good shot if blue stops much before the peg, to be honest. Oh, but he wasn't. He was right behind the hoop, so he couldn't even see it. And this is risky. So, so at 4-1 up, this is one way where that lead can quickly dissolve, I'm afraid, because black here kind of has to clear yellow just to stop this jump shot. If if yellow jumps this, not only does it turn into 4-2, blue can't get to hoop 7, and so hoop 7's already looking doubtful. Um, so if you're 4-1 up here, you probably don't need to do this jump shot. At 4-1 down, you've if you've got this shot in your arsenal, you should be doing it, I feel. This is one of those examples where score really matters tactically, because this is one way that Yasser can get back into the game. I'm not sure this is a right shot. It might increase his chances of getting this hoop, but I think he's sort of neglecting the value of his first approach to 7, and so I'm guessing from that clearance that red has an okay hoop run. That he's happy to have it if blue just feeds a ball in. Um, but even if he does it, I mean, red looks like it's got red's hoop run doesn't look trivial, so there's no guarantee he'll get it. And if he does get it, okay, it's 4-2. But then James has got first approach to 7, and 5-2 down is beginning to look a little bit irretrievable. So yeah, although having said that, if blue doesn't hit this, red doesn't have to run this hoop. He can just do a stop shot, and that's a danger. So one reason not to do the jump shot is if you don't really fancy it. And just had news through the grapevine that Yasser's jump shots, he doesn't rely on them too much when he plays. He doesn't really fancy them too much, so that might explain why he didn't do it, which is fair enough. So in a way, actually, I would have kind of liked to see blue just take position at that hoop 6 and force Yasser to go for that awkward-looking hoop run. As it turns out, though, I suppose if you're shooting pretty well, the shot's pretty valid because, if you make that clearance with red previously, then you've got this self-innocent hoop run. But as it turns out now, blue's got a very long shot, and he's got to hit that in order to get this hoop. And it seems like Yasser's pretty worried about James's shooting too, because he's taking some time to work out the block line. Or perhaps he's working out whether it's already blocked and whether he's got the liberty of just going halfway here. If black or the peg is already blocking blue's hoop shot and ball, then yeah, halfway is good. And yeah, so he's setting up for hoop 7, and that's pretty wise. James could gamble here and just feed a ball down slowly and just hope for a hill. And if you're hoping for a hill, there's not many better places than lawn two at Nottingham. Um, ooh. But yeah, as it turns out, whatever, maybe it was, the hoop was open, but whatever shot that was, didn't quite work. And now Yasser's got a shot for 4-2. James may feel like he's sort of messed up a little bit here because he was in command of his hoop for some periods of time. But the fact is, he's just got to remember, like if he starts feeling a bit worried, he's just got to remember that he's 4-2 up with first approach to the next hoop, so he's in a very strong position. And actually, that position's just got stronger because you see where red's gone off the boundary. Red's gone off the boundary very near to blue, and basically, if black gets good position, yellow has to clear here and now because blue's block shot is probably mostly done already, as in blue probably just has to tap red's. Blue just has to tap slightly in long to block red's clearance. And yeah, Yasser's clocked this and is clearing right now, and that's a good clearance. That's a good clearance. But it's a clearance that really he would have probably preferred not to have to do because he started off with 2 balls 7 yards away from the hoop, and he's ended with 2 balls 7 yards away from the hoop. And that's a nice position for blue for running the hoop. My one reservation is that with yellow where it is, if blue was a bit deeper, yellow cannot get any distance on blue whatsoever. With blue there, yellow could punt it more towards corner 3. But as it turns out, Yas is opting to do a second clearance, and I'm not sure I like that too much. Red's gone even further south than yellow did, so it's gone past the penalty point and is on the boundary more towards hoop 1 than hoop 2. And that angle's a bit too much, so it means that if red ends up doing a clearance shot next turn, chances are that ball's just going to go straight off the boundary, and there's just not really the distance there to clear meaningful distances. Having said that, if red caught the clearance on the other side, then he would have a really nice clearing angle for next time. Yas is clearing again. I really not sure about this. I mean, when's he hoping to get a hoop shot here? Like his strategy here seems to be depending on getting a half ball, sending black away, and having his ball bounce off in front of the hoop. The problem with that is that if you catch the wrong side, it's pretty bad and you can be stuck clearing. But also, you're aiming half ball, and that means that you've got a lot less margin for error. And perhaps that's what's happened here because as he misses on the left and yellow disappears, Yas is in a very weak position. And now he's clearing just to stay in this hoop. And that ball misses too. And now James has earned himself 2 balls in front of the hoop. Yas has got not got any balls near the hoop. And all James has done at this hoop is just put balls in front. I think Yas has probably been a bit keen to clear here. And I think he needed to put 1 ball in at some point. Yeah, nice. Nice. So James taking quite a bit of wire. It's not ideal, but the fact is when you're 4-2 up, going 5-2 up's the major goal. He doesn't have to worry too much about getting his ball all the way down to hoop 8 because going from 4-2 to 5-3 is a good trade because it means that Yas has got a lot less time to get back into this game. There is quite a big hill in the dying approach of this hoop. I think he should be safe from it. Yeah, that's fine. I think James is going to the right of this hoop, and from memory, this hill goes the other, like, we'll drag it even further right. So this could end up quite angled. Having said that, he's remained quite deep there, probably deeper than he needed to be honest. So he's got a bit of a hoop shot, but it's quite wide. Sorry, it's quite angled. And yeah, red and yellow both okay hoop shots. And I think now what I'd like to see is just black go slap bang in front and give yellow an excuse to bail out of this hoop shot. I don't think that's where it needed to be. I think it needed to be a couple of yards closer to the hoop because it's taking the pressure off yellow wanting to take this hoop shot on. I think a cheap way back into the hoop for James would have just been black 1 yard in front, yellow declines hoop shot, and then blue stop shots red. I think, you can get back into the hoop without having to do the clearance. As it turns out, Yasser's looking at yellow and black and says, well, yellow's hoop shot's easier than black, so I'll just have my hoop shot, thank you. But no, catches a lot of wire and gets rejected to the side boundary. Nice shot, well done. Well done. So red being cleared pretty much exactly to the boundary line, which is nice because it means that he minimizes how much power he's put in, and that means that blue doesn't stray too far after hitting red. And red's had to gamble here. Red's had to just stick a ball in, and I don't know if that's quite there. So it's running, but it's not blocked black. And yeah, James has clocked that this is a good opportunity to take a really commanding lead, and he's just walking up to the ball and immediately playing the hoop shot, and that's good. That's exactly what he needs to do here. Yeah, well done. So James now looking very strong indeed. 6-2 up in the second. So I think yellow strayed a little bit far, and has given himself a much more angled hoop shot than he would necessarily like. And James's response is right there. You just go deep because yellow will be looking for options other than that hoop shot, and an obvious one is just to clear blue, so you make that clearance difficult. Red's position is very good. I like red's position a lot, and very nice. So then, it's strayed a bit far. But this is one of those classic one deep, one near sort of situations. After a opponent's first ball's out of position, you put one ball in deepish, which can control the hoop and, if necessary, run the hoop. And then you put another ball in just to be cleared. You just give yellow an excuse to leave your other ball alone, and then you run it from 5 yards. It's a well-tested and very good formula. As it turns out, it needs that. It does require that black's in decent position. And because black's strayed a bit far, yellow has the option to try to hamper blue. It couldn't really clear it very far, so the hamper's a fair enough option. It's a bit of an awkward lawn to do it on, but Eugene, you probably want to click record on this. Probably want to click record on this. No, he's going to do a jump. So James doing a jump shot. Probably not strictly necessary, but shows you how confident he's feeling right now. Well, he gets silver. He gets one of those accidental clearances. Sorry, there's a bit of a delay between what I'm saying and the YouTube, and so like about 15 seconds later you hear what you said 15 seconds ago, and can be a little, it can break your concentration a little bit. But yeah, so James going for the jump, but getting second prize, clearing red. It basically stops the hoop ending there and then. The fact that blue disappeared off into the distance, black's not in front, does um, does make this situation a bit harder to remedy. GG. Oh, maybe we just um, yeah, and now that's the right shot from James. You've just got to gamble that yellow's not going to run this hoop. To be honest, even if yellow does run this hoop, is it so bad? Blue's onside by virtue of clipping off red on its way down there, and unless yellow runs all the way to slap bang in front of 10, even though Yasser will turn it to 6-3, I think it could quite quickly turn into 7-3, and that ran. Okay, very clean. So so yeah, so now blue has got full reign of this hoop and can just slap a ball dead in front. Doesn't even have to be really tight. He just needs to get a ball in front to run. So a couple of yards back would do. Um, I think that's a bit angled though. I don't think it's quite there. And it's a little bit of a let off, but James is still in command of this hoop. And red's gone very deep there. It's a bit tricky. I wonder if it might be one of those situations where red actually doesn't try to get a hoop shot and instead plays level with the hoop and just past blue, such that blue can only get rid of red by about 7 yards. It really does depend how blue's hoop shot is. If blue's got a really straightforward hoop shot, I'd like to see red tight and then yellow clear, because you're basically forced to clear anyway. And I think on balance, if blue's not going to take its hoop shot on, you don't really want red there because you've not seen black's position shot yet. And if black goes tight to the hoop, then blue's got the option of clearing red 30 yards. And then you've got to turn around and do a 30-yarder in order to salvage that situation. Whereas if you go sort of between blue and the boundary, blue can only clear red about 7 yards, and wherever black goes, red's got a say over it. But it looks like James is liking his angled hoop shot enough to have a go at winning this game here and now. Well, the pace he played it at, I'm pretty sure jaws was his intention, and he's pretty much there. He's not entirely in the hoops, so it is a bit easier to dig out. But yeah, that's a pretty strong position. And I don't think James maybe twigged earlier that Yasser turned down a jump shot or two here and there, and is therefore happy to leave in this jump shot with yellow. Because I mean, there is the issue here from red that from red's clearance that black's clearance on yellow is not that long, and if he makes any contact with it at all, the jump shot becomes longer. But if yellow now jumps through, blue's got a very awkward approach to hoop 11, and that could be one way back into this hoop. That could be one way. Sorry, that could be one way back into this game for Yasser. If blue can't take position and black's disappeared off into corner 4, so an awful lot is riding on this jump shot right now. So and that's rush peel. That's rush peel. It's unfortunate when games end that way, but he needed to take the chance. He needed to take the chance, and it's a real shame when that's how a game ends. But James was in commanding position anyway, so yeah, it's not really on the basis of that one shot that James won this game. But James looking exceptionally solid here. I'm really looking forward to Edmund versus James now. I don't think James was a favourite coming into this tournament to get to the final. There were a lot of other strong players. I think Edmund on balance was probably a favourite to get to the final. But the fact is, it's been a very strong tournament, and the top ranked player has got to still play an awful lot of games in order to get to the final. And when it's a strong field, the chance that he loses one or two of them just gets higher and higher. But James has done exceptionally well to reach the final. And I've got to say, actually, he's still undefeated. He's got to the final. He's not dropped a single game. Um, and so he's probably high on confidence right now. And so the final is going to be cracking. Good news for viewers at home is that because the tournament's on schedule, we've got time now for a best of 5 final. So that should be a real treat.
Do you want to mute that just quickly? Hi, just a logistics point. The man just came in just now to say that the bowl final will be starting on lawn 2 shortly, which is the lawn we've just been covering. And the final will be on lawn 1, and I expect that'll start after lunch, which is about 1 p.m. So I think what we might do is we might just kind of turn this to on lawn 2 for a bit on a static stream, but we've got a few logistics to sort out because we want to kind of try and improve the setup for the final.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Or there may be some commentators, or so. Thanks everyone for watching. Sorry about the Wi-Fi issues. The good news is that being on lawn 1 for the next game, we should be able to have an Ethernet cable, which will hopefully solve the problem. Uh, we'll let you know when the final starts. We don't have official word that it's 1 o'clock, but that's when we suspect it will be. But yeah, it should be a cracking game. We'll leave you now with the bowl final. So thanks for tuning in, everyone. Cheers. Bye.